My name is Jeanette Ernst. I'm the Field Sales and Education Executive for Truss in the US. I am located in Houston. If you want to screenshot, that is my email and phone number anytime that you have any questions or just need any support or just anything. You can text or email or call. So today we're actually going to go over some of our top SKUs, which is our lighteners. Um, Coming off of BTC last month, um, we were aware of our presence in the market, mostly from the Latino demographic, but we were actually quite shocked and like pleasantly shocked at the awareness of the mainstream American market that knew us at BTC. And a lot of the questions were, we know trust, but we don't know where to get trust, right? So a lot of these stylists with awareness in our social media reach are very curious about us. And especially with our top SKUs, and that would be a lot of our lighteners because that's usually what we're known for is our blonding and blonding with healthy hair. So why trust professional? Um, we are backed by the number one beauty corporation in Brazil. Which is Grupo Boticário, holding a 17% market share in the world's second largest beauty industry. We're ranked among the top 10 brands in South America, and Trust Professional is actually in 34 plus countries worldwide. We have our you can separate our portfolio in three ways. We have our professional products, which are salon exclusive treatments that are back bar services, home care, which is take home treatments and styling, and then our color offerings, which is a full color portfolio that we are also expanding on within the next year with our newer shades. So our top 10 products, of course, it's our number one is Deluxe Prime. Deluxe Prime is I think it's like the number one tool for stylists. Not only is it used in the back bar as a leave-in, a reconstructive treatment, an aid for color, a cutting lotion, it's also a retail product for our end consumer and our clients as a reconstructive treatment, a leave-in for detangler, and a blowout aid. Number two is Amino, which is goes hand in hand with Deluxe Prime. Amino is our heat protectant, and the difference is that it's heat activated and it drives amino acids into the hair. So not only is it protecting from heat, but it is also putting amino acids in the hair, making the hair shiny, more supple, and just overall has a nicer manageability to it. We have Miracle Shampoo, which is our number like into the home care for shampoos and conditioners, Net Mask, which is our reconstructive treatment, Blanc Blonde, which I'll be going over a little bit deeper here in a few minutes, Frizz Zero, which is amazing for frizz control. As somebody who lives in Houston, I use Frizz Zero as my pre-mask into shampoo and conditioner. When I'm going to wear my hair straight, I actually have really curly hair. This is amazing for a natural solution to keratin treatments, right? People are always concerned about frizz, but those treatments tend to be more harsh and caustic to the hair and are permanent. We're seeing the market to where clients want more versatility. They want to be able to wear their hair in their waves or texture, but have frizz control. Or if they want to wear their hair straight, Frizz Zero allows them to do that in a styling formula. Then we have Illuminate Oil, which is our finishing oil. The scent and fragrance is it's very nice. It's almost like a perfume, and odor blocking, which is nice for those who work in environments that the hair can absorb, right? Great for waitresses, chefs, or even moms at home who are cooking. My hair absorbs what I'm cooking. The Illuminate oil is going to block that. So it's not only a hydrating oil, but it's also like a hair perfume. We have our 8X powder that I'm going to go a little bit deeper in here in a few minutes. Equilibrium shampoo is our scalp treatment. It balances scalp issues. It's antifungal, antiseptic, so it's really great for those that have scalp issues or wear extensions. For those extension salons, this is a great home care product because those who wear extensions tend to sometimes not wash as often or not fully dry the hair on the scalp, which can create scalp imbalances, fungal issues, itching. Equilibrium is going to balance that out for them, while also maintaining their extensions with hydration or any other scalp issues. And then we have Aire Libre, which is our other lightener, which is more for hand painting. So that's just kind of an overview of our top 10 products. And now I'm going to go into the lighteners and how to position them in salons because really a great way to kind of introduce trust to a salon is through our lighteners. They're high quality. They give you great end results, but on top of that, they keep hair integrity in mind throughout the process. So let's talk about Blanc Blonde. Um, I like to say Blanc Blonde is the workhorse of our lighteners. It is a blue-based powder. So when you're lifting, it's going to control that underlying pigment. It can lift up to 7 levels, of course, depending on hair texture, but it does give a nice lift. I can take someone from like a level 2 up to a level 9, level 10, right? It again, it's dust free. It does have that blue pigment for neutralization in the lifting process. Um, it also has collagen in the formula. So the fact that it has collagen, it means that it's also hydrating and restoring the hair while it's lifting. You can mix it at a 1 to 2 proportion, but honestly, you can also do a 1 to 3 if you're wanting more a more, I don't want to say liquid, but a looser formula for foiling in foil. Um, the time of action and choice, of course, it depends on developer. You can mix it with 6, 10. We have a 13 emulsion you can mix with it as well, 20, 30, and 40, depending on the technique and the amount of lift that you're looking for. Um, and yeah, so I would say it's the workhorse. It's great for getting nice cool lift. It's great for color correction. So if there's banding and I need to lift and tone at the same time, Blanc Blonde is going to be your go-to lightener. Do you guys have
Um, can
questions?
I add in? Obviously, I mean, for those of you that are new, for those of you that have been here for a while, you know this is, like she said, the workhorse of trust. Them coming from a Latino market with darker hair, this stuff, I always said when I was a rep, it treats while it bleaches because that collagen and the blend of oils. So you can trust that when you put this on their hair and they lighten it and they go 7 levels of lift that their hair is not going to be dry and break off. I mean, this stuff really works very well, and your hair almost feels better after you use a lightening service, which is crazy to even say. So it's a great one.
A great comparable one that I would say if you're going in and a salon is having like a blonde or I would other like competitor products. It's going to give you the same, I don't want to say aggression in lift, but without the drying factor, without the blowing up of the cuticle because of the collagen and the miracle oils. Then when you add 8X powder to it, it's even cleaner lift, and it's even more protective. So yes, most of our clients, their hair is better after the lightning service, even before they came into the salon. So they leave the service with more supple hair, shinier hair, softer hair. So it is an aggressive lightener in the form that it's going to give you the lift that you need, but not aggressive in the form of that it's going to stress the hair out too much, if that makes sense. So going into Aire Libre. So Aire Libre is our freehand balayage lightener. But I also don't want you to think that it's only exclusive to that because I also highlight and put Aire Libre in foils. It just depends on how much lift I need. So this is a white base powder. Um, it can lift hair 2 to 5 levels. However, if you're patient, you can leave Aire Libre on up to an hour, and I've gotten more levels of lift with Aire Libre. Um, because it is not a clay-based powder. So other balayage lighteners tend to be clay-based and they tend to create a casing that dries up and then kind of flakes off. This stays moist and still has the active ingredients into it, but it doesn't transfer over, even though it still stays like wet, right? As opposed to a clay base that then dries up, crusts up, and it's no longer, its lifting power stops. Aire Libre continues to lift until you remove it. It gives hair intense hydration, elasticity, and flexibility. It does form a protective layer that retains the active ingredients inside the hair fiber, boosting hair health, but it does not dry out and stop the lifting process. You can mix from a 1 to 1.5, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, honestly, depending on the viscosity of the technique that you're needing. And you can use it with any developer in our portfolio, 6, 10, 13, 20, 30, and 40. It is a white powder, so it's going to show you exactly the lift and the underlying pigment that you need. So for example, if I'm lifting someone with my level of hair, I'm about a level 5, 6, but I don't want to go super blonde platinum. I just want a slight shift in illumination. I don't need to use Blanc Blond because I'm going to stay in the warmer areas, right? I still need the exposure of that underlying pigment. I don't need to neutralize if I'm only lifting 2 to 3 levels. Aire Libre would be the lightener I choose. I expose that underlying pigment, that slight shift, and then I can go in and tone with the end result that the client is wanting. So it's really great. We have two lighteners, but they're really specific and can be used for differing techniques. I also prefer to use Aire Libre for clients that have textured hair, curly clients. It's not as aggressive. It's still going to give me the level of lift that I need, but it's going to keep the pattern of the curl intact without damaging, breaking those bonds. And then now I'm creating a shift in curl pattern. So if I want to preserve that curl pattern, I'm going to go in with Aire Libre. Um, so a stylist tip too from our ambassadors is that you can mix a little bit of Blanc Blond into Aire Libre to give it a little bit of boost and neutralization. Now we call that a stylist tip because we can't guarantee the end result. But I will say that our ambassadors do mix them together, especially if they're doing a balayage on like, let's say a level 2, they will mix a little bit of the Blanc Blond into the Aire Libre for a little bit more kick and a little bit more neutralization. So they play well together as well, along with being separate. Any questions on either of the two lighteners? Okay, perfect. So the key points for Aire Libre, if you're coming into a salon and they're already stating like we have a balayage lightener, right? I would kind of ask the questions, is it clay based? Does it dry out on you? Does it flake? Most will say yes. So that's where you can position Aire Libre and say, wouldn't you like something that you don't have to reapply or it doesn't dry out too fast, right? But still give you the same properties of having a freehand technique without it expanding and touching other areas, but still keeping the moisture and the lift that you need up to an hour. That's going to kind of pique the interest of the stylist, and that's when you would sample and have them try it because that is the differentiating factor between our balayage lightener and other competitors. I also use it for like my double touch, double process highlights or process blonding to where I don't even have to go into the line of demarcation. I paint the lightener right up to that line, even when I refresh highlights and retouch them, because it's not going to expand and it's going to mitigate the overlapping process. So then I'm not stressing the other pre-lightened hair. So this is a really nice lightener for very specific, very meticulous techniques. And then your Blanc Blond, like I said, is your workhorse. You're needing to lighten, to shift color, whether it's for platinum or very blonde or color correcting. So then we go into the 8X powder. Um, I feel like people sleep on 8X powder. So let's talk a little bit about bond reconstructors and there's how they work. So bond reconstructors in competitors, you have to break the bond for the reconstructor to go in and reconstruct and reattach. So they're banking on that some hair is going to be broken. So it's a band-aid measure to create then a bridge to reconstruct. 8X powder, we're more proactive as opposed to reactive. It's a damage minimizer. Does it have reconstructive properties in it? Yes, it does. If the stylist pushes the hair a little too much, it will reconstruct, but it's more of a damage minimizer. It's a protector. So the key benefits is that it improves the texture for easier application. It increases stability so that the lightener doesn't get too volatile, too hot, and expand too much. So it's going to keep it consistent throughout. It reduces the heat in the foil paper. It has greater protection for hair during lightening. It provides hydration, improves detangling. It creates a protective film, and it gives extra shine. It actually has an ingredient of bee propolis. This is the only product that is not vegan due to the bee propolis ingredient in there. But that bee propolis is what is created in a honeycomb that bees to protect their queen and protect the hive. We take this extract, it drives the lightener where it needs to go to provide its function, but it protects everything else in the structure of the hair. Does that make sense? The great thing about it too is that it is a powder consistency and formula. So when you add and measure into your already consistency, whether it's a thickness for balayage or you have your consistency for lightener and highlights, the powder is not going to alter that viscosity. So in other competitors, most of them are liquid. So you add the liquid and then you're like, oh, it's a little bit runny. So then I'm adding more powder to create the viscosity I need. It's really counterintuitive because you've added your liquid bond protector, but now because the mixture is too liquid, I'm adding more powder and I'm raising the alkalinity level again. So it's really counterintuitive. Where this is being a powder, it creates that stability within the viscosity that the stylist has created. Does that make sense? Um, Honestly, 8X powder, we've had our stylist and our educators, and you can go and I can send in our messages, the educator, she's an expert who did a test on 8X powder in hair with 40 volume, and she did it multiple times. And 8X powder prevented the hair from breaking. I mean, she took this hair swatch and I think she bleached it with 40 volume twice for an hour and did a competitor. And the elasticity, the structure of the capillary strand was still intact with 8X powder because it is more preventative and proactive as reactive. And it's not going to, after a few washes, the film, it doesn't just slough off and then the hair breaks. It actually works from the interior out, protecting the hair. 8X powder not only can go into lightener, it can also go into color in a glaze in your permanent color application. So for somebody who's blonding and puts the powder in the lightener and then puts the powder into the toner, their hair is actually going to feel nicer, healthier at the end of their service than before the service started. So those are our three lighteners, or three products, our two lighteners and our 8X powder that work together. Frizz Zero, it can be used in varying ways. Um, so it can be used as a pre-shampoo for someone who has a little bit like medium to fine frizzy hair. So you're gonna spray it in, or you can spray it on your hand, emulsify, rake it through before on dry hair before you shampoo. Then you're going to go in, shower, shampoo, condition, and style, and it'll minimize the frizz until the next shampoo day for someone with fine to medium hair. For someone with more coarser, coily, frizzier hair, you're going to, in the shower, shampoo first. Then you're going to use the Frizz Zero like a liquid mask. You're going to apply it, then rinse it, and you can use that as your conditioner, or if you want more hydration, I suggest using Frizz Zero conditioner or Nutrient Fusion conditioner for someone who needs more hydration, or is like in the Northeast during the winter time where it's just drier, it's going to provide more hydration for control of frizz. Now, for someone with extremely coarse, thick hair, you can use it as a leave-in after. Your hair is damp, you're going to spray a little bit on, and then you're going to blow dry. That is only for someone with very coarse hair because it is so heavy and it a little goes a long way. So I would spray in my hand, emulsify, and from the mid shaft down, kind of rake it in and then blow dry it in. I wouldn't concentrate it on the scalp just because of the heaviness, and it's going to actually create more oils for that client. But those are the three ways that you can use Frizz Zero to mitigate frizz for different textures of hair. I am a huge Frizz Zero user. I have shied and backed away from any type of chemical frizz control just because I like the versatility of wearing my hair curly and I like the versatility of wearing my hair straight, and I don't want the commitment of permanent straightening. I also am sensitive to certain chemicals and like permanent straightening systems, I just don't, my body doesn't react too well. And I honestly see the trends of that shifting in the future. Our clients, our stylists are becoming more health conscious, ingredient conscious, and the trend is gearing more towards versatility. So Frizz Zero is a great retail product for all your clients. It's great to use in the back bar, but it really is a great retail product to give the client more versatility and control of frizz and styling their hair. I even use it when I wear my hair curly. It's not necessarily to like for me to wear it straight. If it's just a really humid day in Houston and I want to wear my hair curly, I will still do Frizz Zero as my mask in the shower, and then I'll just put my curl products and style curly for the day.
Okay, one last question. If to get the stylist to use it at the salon, how would I convince them to try it at the salon to introduce it to the client? Because a lot of times they have their own method for blowing out their frizz and they don't want to
Right.
introduce an additional time step.
So the way I would introduce it is in their consultation when they're speaking to their clients. Most clients will complain about frizz, right? So depending on what their frizz, why their frizz, why their hair is frizzy, I should say. Is it more of a porosity issue? Do I need to address something in the back bar with like a nutrient fusion treatment, or is it more reconstructive? However, how I would introduce it to show them is in the styling portion. It really is not that long of an extra step. Um, it's like 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. So I would in the wash house speak to it. If a client has fine to medium hair, I would say, hey, when you take this home, we're going to use this as a pre-shampoo. Show them, spray it, leave it on for a bit. Or if it's somebody who would use it as a step two, right? Post shampoo or leave-in. It's just part of their styling routine when they're finishing their client in from the wash house to the chair, and just having them touch, feel, smell, and showing them literally how little goes a long way. Because, of course, when a client sees a price of a retail bottle, they're like, okay, how much am I using? The return on the investment on that bottle is that bottle should last them 6 months, right? It's a lot of longevity. The product is very concentrated, and if they're washing their hair like every 2 to 3 days, they're only using it twice a week. So just to incorporate it in how they style and show them, and then showing the end result, they're going to retail that product with Amino and Deluxe Prime. Those are the top sellers for us for someone that has frizz or manageability issues. You're welcome. And also Frizz Zero has a slight, I would say it's not a heat protectant per se, because you still want to use Amino, but it does protect, it's a heat preventative. So it does seal the cuticle with prevention when you're blow drying. But if they're using a hot tool after, I suggest using Amino for that extra protection.
Hi, can you explain Deluxe Prime again? Because this is just a little bit different. So when would you use the Deluxe Prime versus the Frizz Zero?
Okay, so Deluxe Prime falls under the reconstructive category. So if someone has frizz due to porosity, but they also have chemical damage and need some reconstruction, I would suggest both, right? But Deluxe Prime would be the leave-in and detangler for reconstructive properties, and then I would layer over Frizz Zero. So depending on the hair texture, Frizz Zero would be in the shower while they're washing,
Mhm.
and then after, before blow drying, I would spray Deluxe Prime and then do your blowout. So you've controlled the frizz in the shower, and then in your blowout, now you're dealing with the leave-in of reconstruction and hydration. And the new upgraded Deluxe Prime has more nourishing properties. So it's going to give reconstruction with extra hydration. So not only for that client who has frizz, but maybe they've lightened their hair too much and it's
Mhm.
kind of, I don't know, I say like that the hair is a little spread out, right? The Frizz Zero is going to address porosity and it's going to address frizz. Deluxe Prime is going to address sealing that cuticle and preventing those split ends from splitting up even further.
So then you would use it if you use it post shampoo, shampoo the hair, and then apply this and leave it in, and then no other conditioner. Is that what you're saying?
You can follow Frizz Zero with a conditioner if the hair is coarser, but you can just rinse it out and that be your conditioner. So it really
For
depends.
the
Yeah.
for the Deluxe Prime.
Oh, then post shower, before when you've dried your hair, removed all of the excess moisture, and you're gonna blow dry, you're gonna spray Deluxe Prime and then blow dry.
Okay, so you would use it without a conditioner. Is that what you're saying? Because if you're working with hair that is not uh thick, it's not curly, um,
You don't need a
it's not
conditioner.
as coarse, it's not as coarse, I guess.
Yeah, Frizz Zero would act as the conditioning agent. But if your hair is coarser, thicker, and is more porous, you can follow up with a conditioner, then rinse, and then put in the Deluxe Prime and blow dry.
Okay, so you would, but can you use the Deluxe Prime without the Frizz Zero?
Yes, you can
Okay,
definitely. Yes, yes.
so
You
you
can
would,
use Deluxe Prime at any time that you need reconstruction and hydration.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's a great detangler. It's a great reconstructive overnight mask too. So I
Okay.
like to do, let's say, someone needs a little bit more, they're doing their wash routine. The night
Mhm.
before, they can spray Deluxe Prime into their hair, brush it through, take the Deluxe Prime oil, rake it through, and that can be their nighttime mask. Wake up in
Okay.
the morning, shampoo, condition, and then do a more Deluxe Prime leave-in and blow dry, and you've got a full treatment of reconstruction and hydration. It's similar
Uh,
to Night Spa. We have the retail product Night Spa. Um, Deluxe Prime offers more reconstruction now. So you can use Deluxe Prime like Night Spa before.
okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
I got a question with the 8 times powder. Would you just said put 1 scoop in there. Is that per ounce, per grams, or just per what?
1 scoop is yields. So you're going to want to use 1 scoop per a measure of your trust formula. So if you're using a lightener and you're doing 70 grams of powder to 140 grams of developer, um, then you're going to want to do 1 scoop. So for 100, so for 210 grams, which I'm not sure how many ounces that is, I'm gonna have to do my conversion. It's 1 scoop of 8X powder. I
It had the measurements on that sheet you put up.
Yeah, I usually do if I'm doing like 3 ounces of lightener, it's 1 scoop of 8X powder. Trying to see. Yeah. Or if I do like 4 ounces of color, I will do 1 scoop. And in one tub of 8X powder, it yields enough for, I believe it's 2.5 lightener bags of what we have. So it's quite a bit. And the ROI on that is, I think 1 scoop is, I think the cost is like $3.80. So if somebody uses like behind the chair, I had my regular standard, but then if I'm incorporating 8X powder, I would usually bump up the price like by $30, right? And sometimes I wouldn't even give my clients an option. I'm just gonna build it into the price because I want them to have healthy hair, right? So it's actually, I think the sticker shock comes from buying the product, but we have that ROI calculator that really it lasts a long time, and the reduction of redos. A lot of the times when you're lifting hair, um, it's the banding is not just because of the lightener, it's because of other residue, and 8X powder drives in to those areas to remove those impurities as well. So it's protective. It gives you a much cleaner lift to where lightener on its own sometimes can't do it if somebody's got like box color, or it's color correction, or there's just a lot going on. 8X powder is kind of like the I don't know, when you do laundry, the booster that just kind of makes everything a little bit cleaner, a little bit softer. That's really what 8X powder does in the hair. It reduces a lot of redos. It reduces a lot of stress for the stylist. If somebody comes in and they're like, "Oh, I'm a little nervous about lifting. I don't know how this is going to react." 8X powder is that insurance for the stylist. And it's just very easily user friendly. It's a powder, you mix it, it's not going to alter anything, it's not going to liquefy. It's not for Other manufacturers, sometimes the color is like amber or yellow or a little bit darker. We really don't want anything tinting the hair while we're lifting, right? We want something just, and it's clean powder, just like the lightener, but it offers more protection. And the great thing about it too is that you can leave that on for an hour and a half, and the hair is still good. I very rarely suggest, I don't put anyone under heat because sometimes people want that instant lift, but then it kind of dies down, right? Like you get an aggressive lift, but then it just exposes underlying pigment and you have a lot of orange. Where our lighteners with powder, it's like a consistent, steady, clean lift. And I think that's like the most important when it comes to lightning is consistency, predictability, and also protection.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I just wanted to try to get some information on the Hydra color ampules.
Okay, sure. Just any so Hydra color, that is going to be, I suggest for intense color. It's going to be super acidic. It's going to lock the color into the cuticle, seal it down. I really suggest it for anybody who's going from blonde, especially now in the fall. People are going from blonde to richer colors. You're going to have to pre-tint, like fill in, and then put the color. Following up with Hydra color is going to lock that in and make sure that those molecules stay um, in the cortex of the hair, allowing that color to stay longer with less fading. Also really great for your stylist to do fantasy color, pink, blue, purple hair. Doing a Hydra color ampule right after their service extends their color much longer because I like to say it's like the ceramic coating over, like you get your car freshly washed and then you paint it and then they put a ceramic coating for like dings and scuffs. Hydra color ampule is going to do that to retain the color in the hair shaft. Great for like super vibrant reds, rich chocolate brunettes, or anybody going from light to dark.